Today we have with us Professor Shridhar Gadre, a Shanti Swarup Bhatnagar awardee and the visionary founder director of our Interdisciplinary School of Scientific Computing, and also in a way founder of the Department of Computer Science, Pune University. His career spans the entire evolution of modern technology, from the early days of IIT Kanpur to the birth of supercomputing in India. Today, we are documenting his academic journey to understand how research, education, and technology evolved over the years. Welcome, sir. We are really honored to have you here today. So, taking you back in the time of your school days, how was the idea of learning back then different from today, and what exactly pulled you towards chemistry?
Yeah, that is a journey long back. I entered my high school in 1958, I think, 1958. And the most wonderful thing was, of course, I learned in Marathi medium school, which is very good because, if you learn in your mother tongue, your entire academic development happens very well, very rapidly, very nicely. The unique thing in my school was it was very simple school, nothing fancy. We had very good and very lively teachers. It is very difficult to remember a bad teacher from the school. All the teachers were very good. They put their life into what they were doing, and they tried to give us the best, whether it was languages, mathematics, science. And we had a wonderful playground. So, I was very fond of spending a lot of time on the playground of my school, playing whatever, cricket, baseball, and many things. We had a very nice library, and the librarian was fond of talking to students, finding out their requirements, or he would suggest, why don't you take this book and read, it's very nice. So all these things shaped us, whether we didn't know that we are getting shaped, but all these things shaped us very well.
Sir, it seems like this phase has played a very important role in your life. When you were a student at Pune University, what motivated you academically and how did you choose research as your career path at that time?
Again, college, the story was the same. We had some very good teachers, nothing fancy, very simple. And our principal, I remember him very well, Mr. Jamadagni. He was, unlike his name, he was very loving person. And they used to care, the institution and the college and teachers used to care about students. We had, of course, you cannot compare the laboratories that time with the labs today, but we had good laboratories, and there were dedicated teachers who spent time in labs. Okay, and then there were people called demonstrators who would spend their time in the laboratory, full time, preparing solutions, preparing instruments, and so on. Our college, I was a topper throughout, so our college used to give us a set of brand new books every year to use, and after use we will return them. So I think in college, whatever it was, very encouraging environment, and teachers involved with you academically and personally. Okay, so that is.
Sir, this naturally brings us to your PhD days. You were a PhD student at IIT Kanpur. So how was your research life back then and the existing technologies at that time? How did they fit into your work?
It's a long question which, I given a chance, I'll give a big talk on this. So, IIT Kanpur, your generation may not know the history of that. It was an institution among the top first 5 IITs, among the first 5 IITs, which was started with American aid. So all our equipments and instruments and many things carried a shake hand. That is a shake hand between US and India. So that image was put on everything. Many American professors taught there before I joined. They spent quite some time. Very eminent people came there as guest professors and started teaching. So that was before I went there. But in any case, IIT Kanpur was a very famous place, especially for two subjects. One is chemistry and the other was computer science. Actually, computer science in India was born, I can say, at IIT Kanpur, because we had doyens of that, Professor Rajaraman, whom we would see almost every day. You know, he was head of the computer science and also he was head of or director of the computer center. Talking of computers, we had a wonderful computer that time that was called IBM 7044/1401. There was no concept of operating system that time. No concept of operating. Everything had to be done manually, and all the work we will be doing was done with punched cards, which possibly none of you has seen. Not that it was very wonderful, it was very painful to do that work. But our computing started with that and Fortran 2 and Fortran 4 were the two languages. Fortran has stayed in scientific computing even today. It has its place. And talking of chemistry, we had again great people in our department. My own guide was P.T. Narasimhan, who was specialized in magnetic resonance and computational, theoretical and computational chemistry. We had Professor C.N.R. Rao. His lab was next door to ours. Then we had Professor M.V. George, a very eminent organic chemist, and Professor Animesh Chakravarti, who was an inorganic chemist. All these names are very big names in Indian chemistry scenario. All top-notch people with their students are all over the place today in India and abroad. Many students are occupying very important positions. Very rigorous training. We had to do as PhD students, everyone had to do 8 courses and everything was done very rigorously. There will be a midterm exam, quizzes, final exam, everything. And the most frightening part was the comprehensive examination, where anything from chemistry could be asked in a written test. And the second part was comprehensive viva, and that was very amusing. It would go for 2 hours till you answer many questions or don't answer, and you get tired answering questions. So that was, after about 1.5 years, you would go back and start working in your laboratory. So that was the practice, and very friendly atmosphere. Our computer center, whatever it was very well kept, well maintained. It used to run except when there is a huge power failure. This used to happen every week once or twice. And computer was partly based on walls and partly based on integrated circuits. So you never know when the computer will break down. Whatever. And we had wonderful hostel, very good food. We used to enjoy. So in short, I would say we enjoyed our academic and non-academic life at Kanpur fully. Okay, so I spent 6 years there. When I joined, I was 22. When I left, I was 28. And I walked out with a degree in 1977. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, how did the idea of Interdisciplinary School of Scientific Computing came to you? Was that a sudden eureka moment or a slow realization?
Okay, again a very long answer. I joined University of Pune in 1980, March 22, 1980. And Professor Takole was our Vice Chancellor. He was also one of the young Vice Chancellors of our university. And he was fired with this idea of computer science. Okay. So we had a computer on our campus, old generation of course, it was called ICL 1904S, an ICL in British computer. And he had an idea of starting a course which we called as BSc Applied Computer Science. And my career in that domain started around 1982. So we ran a 1-year course on, we can call it computer science now. It was called BSc Applied Computer Science. And we had 8 courses, including algorithm, programming, one course, full course on hardware, then COBOL and Fortran. COBOL was very famous language. Some of you might have heard of COBOL. Some of you might have heard of Fortran. So one course on these two. Actually operating systems, but operating systems almost did not exist that time. Many things were done manually, sequentially. One course on mathematics, whether you like it or not, because that was necessary. And then they had a project which really they did with industries, and we were very lucky that Kale Consultants and Jopasana Software were 2 industries with which we had long collaboration. So that course ran for maybe 5 or 6 years. Then Department of Electronics chose 4 universities for starting MCA, Master of Computer Applications, 3-year course, and we were one of them. University of Pune was one of them. So our MCA started when I was the director, and I ran through the first batch, and possibly computer science department started, you can say, formally that time. Okay, so that is a brief history what led to our course. So in 1995, around 1995, there was an idea of, this idea was kind of brewing in my head for a long time, that we start something which puts together whatever is required to do application of computer in sciences. So with that we called it Interdisciplinary School of Scientific Computing. And I think formally we began in 1995 after we did a lot of homework, finding teachers, making syllabus. Then there was a university recognition process. A subject has to be recognized. So we started this new area called scientific computing. So all these formal things, management council, academic council, and then our course started around 1995, first batch, and it has evolved over the years.
So today when you look at the department, do you feel that your aim is achieved?
Partly, yes. Because when I look back at the first batches, possibly they didn't have many opportunities. They came and I shouldn't say they dedicated 100% time, But our teachers were very good. Some of them were from industries and yet very academic minded. And outer world was not so attractive. The era of IT had not begun that time. And people had to, students had to go through the rigorous things. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But in the beginning, because of, students were deeply interested in doing things. And we had these two permanent sponsors, Kali Consultants and Jopasana Software, who took our students for a one semester project. They did real life projects. They were absorbed. Many of them were absorbed in those organizations. And I shouldn't say it was 100% perfect, but it was quite, success rate was quite good, I would say. Slowly, when it came to PCs and, black box computing, I don't know, somehow the interest of students maybe went down. I don't know why, but that is what I feel. Not that all the students today are bad, they are quite okay. So we started a PhD program, and there I would say we were quite good, quite successful. The idea was not to teach them core subjects of physics, chemistry and so on. The idea was to use computer for doing software work or develop algorithms and codes related to physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics and so on. And to that degree, I think I am quite happy with what happened. Though the numbers were very limited, we had very great success in our PhD program. If you talk of quality, two of my students have done outstandingly well. Then one person who was guided by a biologist named as Milind Watwe, he did very well. We had two physics-oriented people, and then we have done PhD, we have had PhD students on statistics, cryptography and so on. So looking at the variety, I am very happy that it went well. But looking at the numbers, it could have been better. Okay, that's what I feel.
Sir, any advice that you would like to give to the students?
You can take horse to water, but you cannot make him drink water. That is a problem. If I speak frankly, that is the problem. So, have fun, enjoy things, and enjoy many other things as you do, but enjoy studies also. And there should be some fun. If you discover or if you find out the proof of a theorem, beautiful, do it. Spend time learning and do all assignments. Interact with each other. Possibly that the present generation is doing much better than previous. Interact with your teachers and have fun and enjoy academic as well as non-academic part of your life here.
Sir, thank you for joining us today and sharing your experiences with us. Sir.
Oh, that's very good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This was the conversation with Professor Shridhar Gadre. Thank you for watching. Do like, share and subscribe.